Today we'll be reading 5 stories. Cinderella, Rumpelstiltskin, Rapunzel, The Straw, the Coal, and the Bean, The Mouse, the Bird, and the Sausage. Cinderella, the wife of a rich man, fell sick, and as she felt that her end was drawing near, she called her only daughter to her bedside and said, "Dear child, be good and pious, and then the good God will always protect thee. And I will look down on thee from heaven and be near thee." Thereupon she closed her eyes and departed. Every day the maiden went out to her mother's grave and wept, and she remained pious and good. When winter came, the snow spread a white sheet over the grave, and when the spring sun had drawn it off again, the man had taken another wife. The woman had brought 2 daughters into the house with her, who were beautiful and fair of face, but vile and black of heart. Now began a bad time for the poor stepchild. "Is the stupid goose to sit in the parlor with us?" said they. "He who wants to eat bread must earn it. Out with the kitchen wench." They took her pretty clothes away from her, and put an old grey bedgown on her, and gave her wooden shoes. It is so difficult to resist commenting on so many... Hell, I couldn't even, when I read Jeff the Killer, I was constantly berating, everyone else in the store for, what the fuck's going on. Here, technically, the man is still alive. And he's allowing this to happen. Okay, just focus on the story. "Just look at how proud, princess. How decked out she is," they cried, and laughed and led her into the kitchen. There she had to do hard work from morning till night. Did he, die in some sentence that I did not see? Okay, he took another wife, who brought 2 daughters. Yeah. Okay, usually in any, iteration of the story I'm familiar with, shortly after the man marries, the father dies, and then they mistreat her because, but he's still there. Why is he allowing this? Whatever. Just read the story. Stop getting distracted. Okay. There she had to do hard work from morning till night. Get up before daybreak, carry water, light fires, cook and wash. Besides this, his sisters did her every imaginable injury. They mocked her and emptied her peas and lentils into the ashes, so that she was forced to pick them out again. Okay, it is also assumed that this guy is rich. How is that the only food they have? This doesn't just scream neglect, but also abuse, even from her dad. What is happening? I feel like there were steps that were missing in how things got this messed up. But just read the story. Just read the story. In the evening she went and worked, weary until she had to go bed. She had no bed to go, but had to sleep by the fireside in the ashes. And on that account she always looked dusty and dirty, and they named her Cinderella. So, what was her initial name? Did we never get that? It happened that the father was once going to the fair, and he asked his 2 stepdaughters what he should bring for them. "Beautiful dresses," said one. "Pearls and jewels," said the second. "And now, Cinderella," said he, "what wilt thou have?" The heads of my sisters at this point? Seriously, what the fuck's happening? He's still here! In any other version of the story, he's dead. That's why he can't do anything. But he's here. He has power in this situation, and he's rich.
There are so many problems.
And now, Cinderella, said he, what wilt thou have?
Father, break off for me the first branch which knocks against your hat on the way home.
So he bought beautiful dresses, pearls, and jewels for his two stepdaughters, and on his way home, as he was riding through a green thicket, a hazel twig brushed against him and knocked off his hat. Then he broke off the branch and took it with him. When he reached home, he gave his stepdaughters the things which they had wished for, and to Cinderella he gave the branch from the hazel bush. Cinderella thanked him, went to her mother's grave, and planted the branch on it, and wept so much that the tears fell down on it and watered it.
Okay, never minding all this stuff going on with stepdaughters, with stepsisters and stuff. Are you not concerned about your daughter being this, grief-stricken? I mean, obviously it's good that she loved her mom this much, but I mean, are you not paying attention to your daughter? Like, do you not notice this? Okay. It grew, however, and became a... That's not how trees work!
And became a handsome tree. Thrice a day Cinderella went and sat beneath it.
Again, not only does a branch not grow into a tree, trees don't grow fast!
It's fun. Stop criticizing the story.
Why is everyone terrible, though?
Okay. Thrice a day Cinderella went and sat beneath it. I gotta drink some water. Where was I? And wept and prayed. And a little white bird always came on the tree. And if Cinderella expressed a wish, the bird threw down to her what she had wished for. It happened, however, that the king appointed a festival, which was to last 3 days, and to which all the beautiful young girls in the country were invited, in order that his son might choose himself a bride. When the two stepsisters heard that they, too, were to appear among the number, they were delighted, called Cinderella and said, "Comb our hair for us, brush our shoes, and fasten our buckles, for we are going to the festival at the king's palace." Cinderella obeyed, but wept, because she, too, would have liked to go with them to the dance, and begged her stepmother to allow her to do so.
Your dad is still alive in this situation.
What? Just read the story. Thou go, Cinderella?
That just sounds odd.
Thou go, Cinderella, said she. Thou art dusty and dirty, and wouldst go to the festival? Thou hast no clothes and shoes, and yet wouldst dance? As, however, Cinderella went on asking, the stepmother at last said, I have emptied a dish of lentils into the ashes for these. If thou hast picked them out again in 2 hours, thou shalt go with us.
How is everyone not kicked everyone's ass in this situation?
The maiden went through the back door into the garden and called, You tame pigeons, you turtle doves, and all your birds beneath the sky, come and help me pick the good into the pot, and the bad into the crop. The 2 white pigeons came in by the kitchen window, and afterwards the turtle doves, and at last the birds beneath the sky came whirring and crowding in, and alighted amongst the ashes. And the pigeons nodded with their heads, and began to pick, and the rest began also to pick, and gathered all the good grains into the dish. Hardly had 1 hour passed when they had finished, and all flew out again. Then the girl took the dish to her stepmother and was glad, and believed that now she would be allowed to go with them to the festival. But the stepmother said, No, Cinderella, thou must now bring democracy to Cuba.
Yes, it's a South Park reference. I couldn't resist.
No, Cinderella, thou hast no clothes, and thou canst not dance.
It's not that hard to dance.
Like, thou wouldst only be laughed at. And as Cinderella wept at this, the stepmother said, If thou canst pick 2 dishes of lentils out of the ashes for me in 1 hour,
thou shalt go with us, as she thought to herself that she most certainly cannot do. When the stepmother had emptied the 2 dishes of lentils amongst the ashes, the maiden went through the back door. It was then that Cinderella took the plate that the lentils go on and beat the fucking shit out of everyone. You tame pigeons, you turtle doves, and all you birds beneath the sky, come and help me to pick the good into the pot and the bad into the crop. The 2 white pigeons came in by the kitchen window, and afterwards the turtle doves, and at length all the birds beneath the sky came whirring and crowding in, and alighted amongst the ashes. And the doves nodded with their heads and began to pick, and the others also began to pick, and gathered all the good seeds into the dishes. And before half an hour was over they had already finished, and all flew out again. Then the maiden carried the dishes to the stepmother, and was delighted, and believed that she might now go with them to the festival. But the stepmother said, All this will not help thee. Thou goest not with us, for thou hast no clothes, and canst not dance. We should be ashamed of thee. Okay, you guys should be ashamed of yourselves. 1, it's your fault that she doesn't have clothes. 2, she had clothes before you stole them from her. And even then, it should have been like, even if she had clothes, you should have like let her keep the clothes, and then you should have like given her new clothes that was nice. Also, what the fuck is the father doing in this situation? You know, he's still alive. Why is he not, why is everyone horrible? Also, you guys probably have more than one set of clothes. You could share. I mean, what's it matter if the dress is a little tiny bit too tight or too loose? Whatever. Besides, it's not like one person's 7 feet tall and the other person's, I don't know. I can't think of anything short. A lawn gnome? Tinkerbell? Sonic the Hedgehog? I don't know. Okay. On this she turned her back on Cinderella and hurried away with her 2 proud daughters. As no one was now at home, Cinderella went to her mother's grave beneath the hazel tree and cried, Shiver and quiver, little tree, silver and gold throw down on me. Then the bird threw a gold and silver dress down to her. Okay. And slippers embroidered with silk and silver. She put on the dress with all the speed. And went to the festival. Man, it's a nice dress. I mean, you guys can see it in the picture. What country is this? Given like the wig hairs that like it looks like those are guys wearing that, or are we in France? I assume this is France. Went to the festival. Her stepsisters and stepmother, however, when was the Eiffel Tower built? Okay, stop getting distracted. Her stepmother, however, did not know her, and thought she must be a foreign princess, for she looked so beautiful in the golden dress. They never once thought of Cinderella, and believed that she was sitting at home in the dirt, picking lentils out of the ashes. The prince went to meet her, took her by the hand, and danced with her. He would dance with no other maiden, and never left loose of her hand. And if anyone else came to invite her, he said, This is my partner. She danced till it was evening, and then she wanted to go home. But the king's son said, I will go with thee, and bear thee company, for he wished to see to whom the beautiful maiden belonged. She escaped from him, however, and sprang into the pigeon house. Why? But why, though? Like in the old story, like, okay, the other story is like, okay, you have till midnight. There's no time limit here. The king's son waited until her father came, and then told him, What is happening here? Okay. The king's son waited until her father came, And then he told him that the stranger maiden had leapt into the pigeon house. The old man thought, can it be Cinderella? And they had to bring him an axe and a pickaxe. What is this, fucking Minecraft? That he might hew the pigeon house to... There's a person inside! But no one... Thank God! Oh, there's a beautiful woman inside this, I guess, chicken coop or something. Oh, but I can't get inside. Bring the chainsaw! The royal holy chainsaws for the emperor! It's like, did we forget there's a person in there? Yeah, guys? They can't hear me over the chainsaws. Okay. The fuck? Okay. And when they got home, Cinderella lay in her dirty clothes among the ashes. A dim little oil lamp was burning on the mantelpiece, for Cinderella had jumped quickly down from the back of the pigeon house and had run to the little hazel tree, and there she had taken off her beautiful clothes and laid them on the grave, and the bird had taken them away again. And then she had placed herself in the kitchen amongst the ashes in her grey gown. Next day the festival began afresh, and her parents and stepsisters had gone once more. Cinderella went to the hazel tree. Okay, again, the stepmother and the stepsisters are horrible people, but so is her dad! What the fuck is this situation? Cinderella went to the hazel tree and said, "Shiver and quiver, little tree, silver and gold throw down over me." Then the bird threw down a much more beautiful dress than on the Where are you getting... One, how are you getting them so quickly? What, is this fucking... Is this bird a fucking Pidgeot from fucking Pokemon? Are we hearing fucking sonic booms as this thing is just like flying across the planet and just like bashes into like a sultan's palace, rips the dress out of a wardrobe, and then knocks over like something lamps and lights an entire country on fire as it goes by sonic speed and it's like passes by Homelander and eats his, I don't know, liver or something. I don't know. I'm just saying. And then where is this? Okay, so as Pidgeot threw down a more beautiful dress brought from the other side of the planet, as so many people's ears are bleeding from fucking Mach speed. Okay. And when Cinderella appeared at the festival in this dress, everyone was astonished at her beauty. The king's son had waited until she came, and instantly took her by the hand and danced with no one but her. When others came and invited her, she said, "She is my partner." When evening came, she wished to leave, and the king's son followed her, and wanted to see into which house she went. But she sprang away from him, and into the garden behind the house, and therein stood a beautiful tall tree on which hung the most magnificent pears. She clambered so nimbly between the branches like a squirrel. What is she, fucking Makoto? Yo, Nanya from the Blaze Blue series? Yes, Makoto Nanya is sexy. You fucked with squirrels, Morty! Okay. The king's son did not know where she was gone. He waited until her father came and said to him, "The stranger maiden escaped from me, and I believe she has climbed up the pear tree." The father thought, "Can it be Cinderella?" and had an axe brought and cut down the tree. But no one was on it, and when they got into the kitchen, Cinderella lay there amongst the ashes as usual, for she had jumped down on the other side of the tree, had taken the beautiful dress to the bird on the little hazel tree, and put on her grey gown. On the third day, when the parents and sisters had gone away, Cinderella went once more to her mother's grave and said to the little tree, "Shiver and quiver, little tree, silver and gold throw down over me." And now the bird threw down to her a dress which was more splendid
magnificent than any she had yet had, and the slippers were golden. And when she went to the festival in the dress, no one knew how to speak for astonishment. The king's son danced, with her only, and if anyone invited her to dance, he said, "She is my partner." When evening came, Cinderella wished to leave, and the king's son was anxious to go with her. But she escaped from him so quickly that he could not follow her. The king's son, however, used a stratagem, and had caused a whole staircase to be smeared with pitch, and it says, "and there." When she ran down, the maiden's left slipper remained sticking. The king's son picked it up, and it was small and dainty and all golden. The next morning he went with it to the father and said to him, "No one shall be my wife but she whose foot fits this golden slipper fits." Then were the two sisters glad, for they had pretty feet. The eldest went with the shoe into her room, and wanted to try it on. And her mother stood by, but she could not get her big toe into it, and the shoe was too small for her. Then her mother gave her a knife, and said, "Cut the toe off. When thou art queen, thou wilt have no more need to go on foot." The maiden cut the toe off, forced the foot into the shoe, and swallowed the pain, and went out to the king's son. Then he took her to his horse as a bride, and rode away her. They were, however, obliged to pass the grave, and there on the hazel tree sat two pigeons, and cried, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. The shoe is too small for her. The true bride waits for you."
Why can all the animals in this world talk?
Then he looked at her foot and saw how
blood was streaming from it. You're not noticing this till now?
He turned his horse round and took the false bride home again, and said she was not the true one, and that the other sister was to put the shoe on. Then this one went into the chamber and got her toes safely into the shoe, but her heel was too large. So her mother gave her a knife and said, "Cut a bit off thy heel. When thou art queen, thou have no need to go on foot."
This didn't work well. Why is everyone in the past a terrible parent?
The maiden cut off a bit of her heel, forced her foot into the shoe, and swallowed the pain, and went out to the...
You do realize this is going to hurt for the rest of time, right? Like, that will never stop. Like, granted, eventually the pain might... But that will always hurt.
Went out to the king's son. He took her on his horse, bride, and rode away. But when they passed the hazel tree, the two pigeons sat on and cried, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. That shoe is too small for her. Your true bride waits for you."
Okay, so the animals not only can speak, but they know how to rhyme.
He looked down at her foot and saw the blood was running out of her shoe, and how it had stained her white stocking. Then he turned his horse, and took the false bride home again. This also is not the right one.
Why does this feel like someone trying to solve a fucking puzzle in an RPG horror game, and they're just trying to brute force the method? Like, oh, I don't know how to solve the puzzle, so I'm just going to keep turning this fucking Rubik's Cube until I get the right combination.
"No," said the man. "There is still a little stunted kitchen."
This is your own fucking... What the fuck? Okay. What?
It's like, this is also not the right one, said the prince. And then saying to the daughter, who is the actual biological father of Cinderella, who remarried and has two stepdaughters, who gave both the stepdaughters to the prince, should be able to easily tell, even if he wasn't in the room with their cutting the feet with the knife, that, you know, their feet were bleeding. And then what's...
And he's like, have you no other daughter? And then the father of Cinderella, his only biological child, responds with, no, said the man. There is still a little stunted kitchen wench, which was my late wife left behind her, but she cannot possibly be the bride. What? I mean, honestly, at this point, they could tell me that, anything, and I would probably believe it. If he's already done all of this, I mean, but I'm just, what? This is, I mean, at this point, you could say that he was beating her, and I would believe it. This is so much neglect and abuse, and they were trying to focus on the, and like they were saying that they inflicted injuries on her, but they didn't go in detail. But they said every imaginable. What the fuck is happening? I shouldn't be sitting here with my mouth just gaping open, just staring at a book. A fucking book shouldn't be having, and it's not, I understand there's a lot of fucked up things in the old fairy tales, but I shouldn't be left flabbergasted about this shit. Fuck.
Okay. The king's son said he was to send her up to him, but the mother answered, oh no, she is much too dirty. She cannot show herself. He absolutely insisted on it, and Cinderella had to be called. She first washed her hands and face clean, and then went and bowed down before the king's son, who gave her the golden shoe. Then she seated herself on a stool, drew her foot out of the heavy wooden shoe, and put it into the slipper, which fitted like a glove. And when she rose up, the king's son looked at her face, and he recognized the beautiful maiden. It's like fucking Superman, but instead of glasses, it's a fucking shoe. Oh, come on, this is, I guess, Team Rocket's idea was original. That, how Ash kept falling for the disguises all the time. It's just a fucking fake mustache! That's fucking James! How do you not see that? Okay. He recognized the beautiful maiden who had danced with him and cried, that is the true bride. The stepmother and the two sisters were terrified. How are they still conscious? They should be unconscious from fucking blood loss. Hell, they should have tetanus from using whatever fucking rusty knife they used. Were terrified and became pale with rage. Pale with rage? Shouldn't they be pale with blood loss? He, however, took Cinderella on his horse and rode away with her. As they passed by the hazel tree, the two white doves cried, turn and peep, turn and peep. No blood is in the shoe. The shoe is not too small for her. The true bride rides with you. Why am I scared of these birds now? If these birds are this intelligent, I'm like, is that bird carrying an AK-47? Dun 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 do do do. Okay. And when they had cried, the two came flying down and placed themselves on Cinderella's shoulder, one on the right and the other on the left, and remained sitting there. When the wedding with the king's son had to be celebrated, the two false sisters came and wanted to get into good favor with Cinderella. How are they walking, by the way? Did they try to staple their feet back together, or whatever the equivalent of staples existed 400 years ago? Okay. When the betrothed couple went to the church, the elder was at the right side, the younger at the left. The pigeons
pecked out one eye of each of them. Afterward, as they came back, the elder was at the left, and the younger was right, and the pigeons picked out the other eye of each. Thus, for their wickedness and falsehood, they were punished with blindness as long as they lived. And here's the thing, I think I remember a version of the story where the mother is like, or is that Snow White? Or it could be a lot of stories where like the evil stepmother was like forced to dance in red hot shoes until she dies. It was like beaten with whips and shit, and like, nope, get back up, keep burning. It's like, why do I feel like I'm just reading the light novel of fucking Berserk? And not Berserk of Gluttony. That's like the same maturity level like, One Piece in terms of violence. Berserk with like Guts and Griffith is not exactly a family-friendly story. I had planned to read 5 stories, but this one took half an hour. And I should try for shorter story readings. So yeah, we'll just leave it off with Cinderella. Hope everyone had a wonderful day, and I don't know. Bye.